different great countries of yesterday, obviously in current year, but the Jewish communities of previous years. Today, friends, we are going to speak about Bangladesh over here. I don't know if this will be a 1 or 2 part series. I'm recording this just before the Shabbat in of itself here in Israel. Now, we've actually recorded videos on Pakistan and Afghanistan before, but now we're concentrating on Bangladesh. It can be traced back, let's just say, to the 18th and 19th centuries. The Jews of British India and Pakistan, I believe, had a small community in what's now Bangladesh, particularly in an area called Dhaka, respectively, over there. Jews have been linked to the modern history of, let's say, Bangladesh. I believe some of the prominent Jewish residents include someone named Mordechai Cohen, who's a famous former television actor. Alex Aronson, very interesting enough, he was an academic who taught, I think, at the University of Dhaka, respectively, over there. He was actually a German-born Israeli, and various different foreigners, I think, prominently associated with the country, include American architect Louis Kahn, for example, and I think he actually designed the Bangladesh Parliament. And J.F.R. Jacob, he was a lieutenant, I think was a prominent Indian military officer, and very much he had a role during the Bangladesh Liberation War, respectively. He was Jewish, I believe. And through interactions between Judaism and Bangladesh, there's a history, I think, had in of itself. The country is currently, obviously, undergoing some anti-Semitism, but let's explore some of the history within regards to the Jewish community over here. Very interesting. So this is the first time, I didn't get as many videos in English within regards to Bangladesh. So let's say Mesopotamian Jews, also known as Baghdadi Jews. We actually did record various videos on the history of Baghdad. They would settle in the eastern Bengal. Now, during the Mughal period, I think eastern Bengal was a hub, let's say, of Eurasian merchants. And they may have settled in Dhaka, I think, during the 18th century, respectively. So the region was later administered by the British Empire, which has been very much spoken about. A notable episode, I think, in the Colonial involved Alex Aronson, who I mentioned before, who was a German Jewish academic and a friend of Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore. I think there was an outbreak, if I'm not mistaken, of the Second World War at that point in time. Aronson was viewed as an enemy by the British colonial government. Despite being Jewish, he was suspected of being a spy of the Axis Germany. Aronson was detained and placed under house arrest, which disrupted, let's just say, his work at that point in time in the St. Kenton University, respectively, over there. And I think he had a friend named Tagore would request the British government to release him, but Tagore's request was initially turned down. Now, I think later on, Tagore then secured the help of Prime Minister Khawaja Nazimuddin of Bengal to have Aronson released. After Tagore's death in 1941, Aronson would begin to teach at the Dhaka University in the hometown of Sir Nazimuddin, a member of the Dhaka Nawab family. Now, very interesting. We actually recorded a video last week on the history of Sudan. So we're speaking about Bangladesh over here. The Jews, mainly based in Kolkata of West Bengal, they managed to create a full community. They built synagogues, schools, and a hospital for the Jewish community, where the Jews of East Bengal, mostly, let's say, immigrants from Kolkata, lived for commercial reasons. The Jewish population in East Bengal was only about 135 Jews at the time of the partition of British India, come 1947. Now, okay, so that's not tiny, not 2 Jews like Afghanistan recently had. Now, Mordechai Cohen, who was born in Rajshahi, became an English and a Bengali newsreader for the Pakistan television called Dhaka in East Pakistan. Now, friends, we recorded a video on this series already about Pakistan. I believe it was possibly not that long ago, maybe 2-3 months ago. Members of the Bnei Yisrael community also resided in Dhaka in the 1960s. Now, we spoke about the Bnei Yisrael, I think, on various occasions when we spoke about, I think it was the Indian community, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just absolutely phenomenal how we can go there. The Bnei Yisrael is also known as the Shaniva Teli, or native Jew. It's a community that was in the Jews in India, respectively, and suggested that they may have been descendants of one of the lost 10 tribes, if I'm not mistaken, but that's a whole topic into itself. By the late 1960s, much of the Jewish community had left for Calcutta. There was a historian, someone named Ziauddin Tariq Ali, who was a trustee of the Liberation War Museum, if I'm not mistaken. There were 2 Jewish families in Bangladesh after independence, but both migrated to India, one in 1973 and one in 1975. And come 2018, there was reported over to only be 4 Jews in the area of Dhaka. Very interesting. Now, there's a Polish-American Jewish architect we mentioned before, Louis Kahn, working in East Pakistan and post-independent Bangladesh to design the Jatiyo Sanshad Bhavan, I think during the Bangladesh War of Independence, if I'm not mistaken. And Major General J.F.R. Jacob, he played a key role in the surrender of Pakistan. So who was J.F.R. Jacob? Once again, Jack Farj Raphael Jacob. I would assume he was a Sephardic Jew, just judging by his name in of itself. So that will be a very, very interesting, very notable figure. I don't think we've come across him yet inside the series. I think he lived between 1921 to 2016. So he was an Indian military officer, if I'm not mistaken. And if I'm not mistaken, he was born actually in Calcutta and he was from a religious Baghdadi family from Iraq, if I'm not mistaken. His father was Elias Emanuel, was an affluent businessman. And he would actually learn in the Victoria Boys' School, if I'm not mistaken. It was founded in India, was I think British kind of school in India. He had a very decorated military career, let's just say, itself. We could speak about that more. And he had a political career also, especially by the time he had retired also. So that's very interesting. He's a key figure. Maybe we will record a video within regards to his history at a later point in time. I think he wrote various different publications, if I'm not mistaken. And what's interesting is, if I'm not mistaken, I think he supported purchase and trade of military equipment and technology from Israel to India, if I'm not mistaken, which is very, very interesting. Also, particularly purchase of the Israeli Arrow missiles, which I think he preferred over the US-made Patriot missile. So he was someone that really would help, let's say, Israel. I think it's interesting. I think very famously, quite recently, Chabad Lubavitch emissary in December 2012 was pictured with Mr. Jacob lighting Hanukkah candles. I think Rabbi Shneur Kuptik, if I'm not mistaken, in Delhi, in India, respectively. So he was obviously from a religious family. I don't know how religious he was himself, but if anyone has more information on that, I'd really, really appreciate it over there. But we're speaking over here about the history of the Bangladeshi Jewish community over here, friends. So welcome to our community. Anyone tuning in live, please subscribe to the channel now. Now, according to record in the JTA, Jewish Telegraph Agency, I think on the 7th of February 1972, it stated Israel has officially recognized the state of Bangladesh, which is very, very interesting. So that was a big, I believe, feat at that specific point in time, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it was the announcement said the Foreign Ministry Abdus Samad Azad, or the recognition in itself. I think it's done over telephone consultations, and very, very interesting. So there's no official diplomatic relationship, let's just say, between Bangladesh and Israel. So that's important also to know. I think the people of Bangladesh and the state of Israel have no relations. Let's say Bangladesh has long advocated a two-state solution. Let's say envisioning Palestine, the Palestinians and Israel coexist in itself. I think there's diplomacy, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's one of 29 states that does not recognize the state of Israel over here. So that's something that we definitely have to point about over here. And cultural relations, I think, are shaped by absence of formal diplomatic ties and Bangladesh consistent support of the Palestinians. Let's just say in itself. So I think Bangladesh itself in November 2023, along with 4 other nations, South Africa, they would at that point in time really criticize Israel. And the trade in of itself, I think from a trade point of view, they maintain a ban on trade with Israel, even though both countries are members of the World Trade Organization. So obviously Israelis will hope that there'll always be peace among the nations in of itself, but unfortunately there's no trade relations also. So that's also another interesting just point out within regards to it. So let's explore more within regards to the Jewish community of Bangladesh, or if there was one in of itself. So let's try and find out if there was any rabbis also that would work. I think obviously there's no community in Baghdad today. There's historical remnants and a few individuals. A notable figure, Dr. Shadman Zaman, who would begin a conversion to Orthodox Judaism, if I'm not mistaken. He actually tried to build ties between Bangladesh and Israel. There was other figures we mentioned about Jacob, JFR Jacob, that would be very much. There's no active synagogues also at the moment. And very, very interesting. So we would like to know more. Other notable figures, someone named Shalom Cohen. Who was he? He founded the East Bengal, a Jewish community in the late 18th century, establishing a presence in Dhaka, respectively, over there at that stage in time. So he is a key figure. Very important that we should point him out also. So his name was Shalom Cohen. There was also a great rabbi named Shalom Cohen himself. Mordechai Cohen, obviously mentioned back before, and Alex Aronson. Someone with the name Walter Yaris. Who was he? He was a Jewish American businessman who was active in the Jewish community in Dhaka and was in contact with Chabad also. So he had relationships, let's just say, with the Chabad Lubavitch over there also, respectively. So that's important also to know about. So who was Shalom Cohen over here? We've got some information. There's a specific article on the ejewishphilanthropy.com website over here, which talks about the fragments of a community over here. And it says that Shalom Cohen, he lived between 1762 to 1836. He was apparently the founder of the Calcutta Jewish community in West Bengal, which obviously is part of India today. He had migrated there from Surat, I believe, obviously part of India. In 1798, he established the East Bengal Jewish community in what obviously is Bangladesh today. He sent employees to Dhaka, also known as, you can pronounce it each way in of itself. I think over there, they trade of clothes, silks, and muslins, and he himself, I think, sojourned there too, if I'm not mistaken. So, very interesting enough. Anyone joining in, we are exploring the history of the Bangladeshi Jewish community. So everyone, welcome to our community over here, and wishing you all well and a Shabbat Shalom as we're exploring the history of it. We're speaking about Shalom Cohen, a key figure. I think in 1817, someone named Moses Duke, or Dweck, he was a businessman who was married to Shalom Cohen's eldest daughter, Luna, if I'm not mistaken. They left Calcutta to live for several years in Dhaka, and they established, I think, a synagogue over there, prayer hall. Now, Dweck, I think, I'm not sure if it's Dweck or Dweck, I'd assume it's Dweck actually. He carried out his business in partnership with a non-Jewish person from Aleppo. Remember, the Dweck family was also a rabbinic family, especially in Aleppo. I think in 1822, Dweck finally returned to Calcutta with his family from Dhaka, but kept up business contacts there. It is significant, let's say, I'm just quoting the article, the Jewish Philanthropy website here. While the Baghdadi Jews continued to trade in Dhaka, mainly, especially in textiles, but also in pearls and opium, most of the Jews did not live there, but actively, let's say, actually resided in Calcutta, where they established multiple synagogues at the point. Now, I'm just going to take a short, friends, anyone that's joining in our channel at the moment, welcome to our community over here. Please subscribe to the channel as we're exploring the history of the Bangladeshi Jewish community over here. Not many videos online with regards to Bangladesh and the Jewish community, so everyone welcome. I hope this is informative over here. Okay, so it's actually interesting. So there was textiles, there was, I think also, most of the Jews did not live there, but they're actually residing in Calcutta. I think they established multiple synagogues over there, respectively. At the time, I think there was the partition of Bengal and India in 1947. The British pulled out of India, and there were 4,000 Jews in the West Bengal, primarily in Calcutta. But according to, I think, various reliable sources, this article say there were only about 135 Jews in the East Bengal in Dhaka. So that maybe, or peak at that point, 135, but it will be a significant community still. And the latter became part of East Pakistan, which was for a brief time, I think, part of the new nation of Pakistan, but would separate geographically, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously there was I think it was separated by 1,600 kilometers of the Indian territory. And we spoke about the famous Louis Khan, who was an architect. He built the largest parliament building in the world in Dhaka, completed in 1974. And I think in 1971, the Bangladesh Liberation War took place, as I mentioned before. It was a Jewish person, JFR Jacob, who we mentioned before, who liberated East Pakistan during this war. Anyone tuning in live, subscribe to the channel. We are exploring the history here of the Bangladeshi Jewish community here on a special edition. So please join our community here and subscribe. We've got fantastic content over here. And yeah, very, very interesting enough. So we did speak about General Jacob also. So it's a very informative article over here on the E-Jewish Philanthropy website. There's not that much data, let's just say, per se, on the history of the Baghdadi Jewish community in of itself, respectively. But it does go on at the moment. And yeah, I think there was only just quite recently, yeah, so not that many people over there. Now, quite recently, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was a trip done to Bangladesh, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure the exact date, but the Chabad website itself will actually talk about it. I think it could be the Lubavitcher Rebbe had ties also with Bangladesh. Remember, Chabad do fantastic work, Lubavitcher, and they go all over the world. They travel all various different places and really do mitzchazek various communities all over the world, and really so on and so forth. So that is very, very interesting. So there's actually another interesting article, if I'm not mistaken, on the Jewish Chronicle website. Also do chronicle something over within regards to the history of the Bangladeshi Jewish community. That's something I will definitely point out over here at the moment. And you know, the rich culture there is in Bangladesh, and so on and so forth, is very, very interesting. Friends, anyone tuning in at the moment, welcome to our community. We're exploring the history of the Bangladeshi Jewish community over here on this special edition. And yeah, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. At the moment, we recorded a video also, friends, about the history of Pakistan, we've got to point out, and also of Afghanistan, not that long ago. It was, I think it was about 2 months ago. So I very much recommend everyone to watch over those previous videos that we did on the previous state over there, and you know, learn more and get more wisdom within regards to that. So yeah, there was an excellent article, I think, on the Jewish Chronicle website within regards to the history of the Bangladeshi Jews also. So they yeah, so I recommend everyone to check out a search upon that also, because it is a key I think some of the Jewish communities in of itself. And yeah, it's we hope obviously there'll be an expansion of the Abraham Accords, but yeah, Shalom Cohen was definitely you could argue, one of the main key figures in Bangladeshi Jewish history, without a doubt. And you know, obviously hope for expansion and so on and so forth within regards to the community. Let's explore. There's another, I think, several different articles also that encapsulates the history. Yeah, so there's another article on the FPA, if I'm not mistaken, Foreign Policy Association, will also speak about it. And yeah, just talking about that, I think quite currently there's someone of the name a distant Salahuddin Shoaib Kaldi claims that what's that? Yeah, so sorry about that. Just yeah, so I think there's nothing that identifies Gog today over there, and yeah, very, very interesting. And they really, there are some Jewish expatriates in Bangladesh, if I'm not mistaken, who apparently reported over, according to this Jewish Chronicle website, will meet during Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah every year, if I'm not mistaken. The only Jews you'll find in Bangladesh, though, are merchants with extensive business reasons to stay in Bangladesh nowadays. So obviously, I think because of the negative treatment, let's say, of the Jewish minority in Bangladesh they've encountered, the Bangladeshi government considers Jewish people to not be friends, put it that way. They have animosity towards the Jewish community, and they refuse to have diplomatic relations, obviously with Israel, as we've spoken about before. And yeah, so you know, we obviously hope as Jewish people, as religious people, there'll be peace all over the world, and there'll be embracement within regards to all communities over the world. And especially, why not? You know, we hope there'll be a time period, especially when Moshiach comes, when there'll be a good relationship with Bangladesh and Israel, and so on and so forth. That's what we should all strive for a peaceful world, a friendship world in of itself over here. So I'm trying to find out, locate if there was any famous rabbis or that was connected to Bangladesh or so much. But yeah, very, very interesting. I don't think there's that many, I think, in the history in of itself. But obviously, Dr. Shadman Zaman, if I'm not mistaken, he would, I think, try to converse, if I'm not mistaken. I think Lubavitcher Rebbe also, let's relate a story over. I think they actually relate a story over within regards to Bangladesh, if I'm not mistaken, which we're going to say, I think there's someone, Max Cohen from Manchester, would receive a call from a business associate in Bangladesh within regards to, this was the story that's actually given away, let's just say, in of itself. It's on the Chabad website, where it's a long story. I'm not going to do justice to the story because it's a very, very lengthy one, but it's featured on the Rebbe.org website. So I would very much suggest to everybody to search for this story, and you can find out more information within regards to that. So very, very interesting. Anyone tuning in live at the moment, please subscribe to our channel. We are a community here. We're learning about great countries this year. Yesterday, we've got fantastic content. So please join and enjoy. We want everyone to, let's just say, just enjoy in of itself all the great content we've got. And as we are really growing as a community and so on and so forth. Let's find out if there's, obviously, as we said before, there was a synagogue, I think, in Bangladesh at one stage in time, but I can't find that much information within regards to that. If I'm not mistaken, there was a Muhiuddin, if I'm not mistaken. That was where the synagogue in Dhaka might have been located once upon a time, but I think it happens to be a different place at this stage in time. It definitely was, I think that was the location, if I'm not mistaken, where originally it was. There's yes, there's not very little information on that, but there was, I believe, in its point of time, a synagogue in the Dhaka neighborhood in Bangladesh, also respectively. So there is a lot of content out there on the internet. There is in some books, and it was probably one of the smallest Jewish communities, let's just say, in of itself. So I think another place says that there was as many as 175 Jews at one point in time. I think there was 200 Jews in Pakistan, but there's various different information, let's just say, in of itself within regards to this information. And there's various different opinions within regards to different things from different professors. And obviously the persecution of the Jewish community in Bangladesh came very much because of, let's say, prejudices against Jewish people with regards to probably to do with religious and so on and so forth. So I'll recommend everyone to look more into that. Also, at the moment, most of the history comes from the 1970s itself, respectively. I think there's another article on the modernghana.com website, which actually talks about the Jewish community of Bangladesh originally, which I recommend everyone to also look into, because that's quite an informative article also. And, just the Jewish community itself, respectively, very, very, very interesting. I think Nefesh B'Nefesh also quotes something. There's if you look on the core.com website, they also talk about why there's no Jews in Bangladesh. It's a whole let's just say a topic onto itself. So that's very interesting. So yeah, so there's only a few, let's say, key figures over there. I'd recommend everyone to look more into. Also on the Blitz website, they also talk about Bangladesh also. Bangladesh, yeah, I think 90% of the Bangladesh country itself is Muslim, if I'm not mistaken. So that's something also very important to talk about. That's a big factor. So we've spoken about key figures over there, including Moses Stewart, who was at that point in time, especially in the 19th century, and the ties they had with India, with Pakistan, all those different places. There's was actually very, very strong in of itself. There's another key figure of the name Joseph Edward of Ontario. He was Canadian born, I think, in Chittagong, and I think he actually maybe was in Bangladesh and moved to Canada, I think, in 1986, if I'm not mistaken. He's another maybe an important figure. If Baruch and his older brother Ezra Baruch were born in Calcutta, and they would move, I think, to East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, if there were other people over there. So they would adopt the surname Edwards, I think, from something else. So this was a family in of itself. Ezra Baruch, or also known as Chacham Reuben, if I'm not mistaken, came from a distinguished rabbinic family in Baghdad. So seemingly they had ties with Calcutta. So we found a rabbi, and he was buried in a cemetery in Calcutta in 1900. And this Joseph Edward had been in contact with various cousins living in Arad, Beersheba, Israel, and they have countries all over the world. But I think they did have some in of itself. So we spoke about how there was also B'nai Israel community from Bombay, I think, or Mumbai, that had connections also over there. And Mr. George Reuben, also known as Chacham Reuben, who was a religious figure, seemingly would be living in Dhaka. So he was possibly one of the closest, you could say, to a rabbinic figure, or maybe he actually was a rabbinic figure in of itself. Now, the Cohen brothers also were there. They lived in Bangladesh for a window of time, and I think their ancestors, if I'm not mistaken, actually came from Iran and Iraq. They would settle in Bangladesh. They were also known as Mordi Cohen, if I'm not mistaken. He went to Rajshaki district school in Bangladesh, if I'm not mistaken, and I think the family were in trade, working in trade and business, selling bicycles, hardware, repairing cars, motorcycles, if I'm not mistaken. And he was one of the pioneers of Bangladeshi television, who we mentioned about right at the start of the video, established in 1964. But I think they were forced out of Bangladesh after the 6-Day War. That's how they moved to Calcutta in 1968. His wife's name is Aline, if I'm not mistaken. But I think she would actually return way later on in December 2014. They were guests of the state-run Dhaka television, which celebrated its golden jubilee, if I'm not mistaken. So that's another interesting tidbit within regards to that itself. So you can see the let's say they say the Jewish Chronicle quotes using the weekly Blizz.net website over here, claim the Jews of Bangladesh to be extinct community in a Muslim country, which is not prolific at all. Jewish community still exists in Bangladesh, while they are not able to disclose their Jewish identity. So this is an information piece of information also. I think the Boni Barta, they claim the Jewish community in Bangladesh succeeded in establishing their own position in the country, mostly through various types of commercial activities, obviously in textile products. And the Jews in Bangladesh had business establishments in Dhaka. But obviously in 1947, the creation of Pakistan, Jews would migrate to Rajshani district overall in of itself. So we've spoken about their history over here. Now, friends, we're a community over here. We are exploring all countries of the world. Please subscribe to our channel now. We have got some fantastic content over here. I'm just going to take a short break. I'm going to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. So just wait. Hold on just 1 minute, friends. Hi, yeah, thanks for everyone just waiting for a minute. There's also an excellent article in the Baltimore Post Examiner, which talk about the history in great detail with regards to the Bangladesh Jewish community, which I would very much recommend everyone to read. There's someone of, there's a famous Muslim Zionist of the name Salah Uddin Shwab Chudhuri, if I'm not mistaken. And it's actually interesting. He was arrested in jail in 2006 for attempting to visit Israel. And he is described as a Muslim Zionist and insists his country is home to 5,000 Jews. So obviously that's very highly questionable just from the data of it. But he's claiming that they are a low profile in of itself. But he goes on a lot within regards to the Jewish community over there, which I recommended. They point out this website also, just within regards to more, you could find Hebrew inscriptions, I think, about status of the Jewish house, the synagogue that was there. I think there was a plaque clearly identifying a building of Masonic Lodge in 1910, if I'm not mistaken. And he will explain within regards to that. This is actually a very good article also over here. And we spoke about really the main Jewish characters as J.F.R. Jacobs, the general. He was Mordechai Cohen, we spoke about also. A lot of these people had ties with India and Pakistan. And I think there was a Jerusalem-based traveler, someone named David Zettler, who would visit Bangladesh, if I'm not mistaken, at one stage in time. And on his American passport said the Pakistani army of 93,000 had surrendered to a Jewish person. And in doing so, had created a new Muslim country of Bangladesh. I don't know which year this was from in of itself, but this is also quoted inside the article, let's just say. And so they say that in itself, very, very few Jewish people in Bangladesh itself would have ever met a Jewish person also. So that's very, very important. It's actually interesting. I think in 1971, Israel offered help in the liberation of that point in time, but I think it didn't actually materialize at that point in time. So there was attempts where Israel did reach out, seemingly. So someone named Larry Luxner will actually write a big article within regards to the Jewish community of Bangladesh and the history in of itself. So I'd recommend everyone to also read that over here. But very interesting. So, there's not really a Jewish community now in Bangladesh in of itself. There's no rabbinic presence. I don't think there's a Chabad presence also respectively of yesteryear over there. So that's something to point out over here. And very, very interesting. And friends over here, we're a community. Please, first of all, subscribe to the channel. We have got fantastic content over here on this channel where we explore all over Israel. We do a lot of tours all over Israel. That's the first thing I'll point out. We go to many places. Many of you have seen the fantastic content that we have got online. So I recommend everyone to look into that. And please, everyone, join our community. We're nearing 8,000 subscribers at the moment. We've recorded the history within regards to Pakistan, recorded the history on Bangladesh places, famous places in of itself. So over there, so that's something not to be missed, friends. Over here, we'll go to many special places which on the onset, and also we do short clips of different archaeologies all over Israel. That's something else I will very much have to point out to you guys. If you see the channel, you'll see loads and loads and loads of different archaeological pictures and inspirations in of itself. One other thing we have on this channel at the moment is we record every day with a great Jewish personality where they give over some wisdom for the 21st century reader or listener within regards to some wisdom, within regards to Judaism, Israel, on all these different topics. That's another thing that we very much are covering here on this channel, and very, very much proud about it. Also, because we are trying to be like a online video encyclopedia of great Oriental and Ottoman rabbis, we've recorded about nearly 1,400 rabbis, some of the biography and informations within regards to great rabbis of yesteryear. So that's something else we're very, very much proud about. And, we're just going literally from strength to strength within regards to that. So something to be very, very proud about also. So please, everyone, that's definitely another reason to join and to enjoy. We're about to go into Shabbat Parashat Vayetzet, the Shabbat. It's about to be. So the seventh Parsha we are going into in the book of Bereshit, which is very, very interesting. And so I recommend everyone to try and bring Shabbat in a few minutes early, go to synagogue, get inspired. What it is, recording this here from the city of Bet Shemesh, Israel. And we've got various different happenings over here and inspirations. So that's important. So we've recorded already about as many as 70 about 30 countries already, the history biography videos. Last night, actually, we recorded a video on the history of United States of America. That's something I very much have to point out. We did a part one. That's going to probably be about a 5-part series. I have to stress out to all you fantastic people out there. So that's another interesting, just tidbit just for you guys. Really improving at the moment. For friends, thanks for any great comments we're getting. We get a lot of comments from you guys, and appreciate it. And wishing everyone well. We're going to do a lot of great content in the week coming. Hopefully, we'll speak about a few more countries. That's definitely very much a plan at the moment. So really, friends, watch your space, as we will hopefully speak about other countries also in the meantime as we get this going. So very interesting. And so please, if you look at, there's a topic actually, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's actually relates over the tours of different across the world. That's actual channel itself, the section itself, which we have to point out. And that's where you will find, if I'm not mistaken, all the different countries which we covered so far here on the channel. So that's something that I very much recommend everyone to actually look into. So I think on that note, I'm going to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom, Mavorach. And maybe we did speak about a few key figures, if we can find it. If you know of any rabbis, anyone that's watching this, that was actually from Bangladesh, I really appreciate it if you any information you've got, maybe write a comment, extra information you've got on them, and hopefully maybe we could have enough research to actually record a video about them. So that's very, very something we're gonna, I think it would be very advantageous to do that also. So yeah, I really, really appreciate it. And wishing you all well over here at the moment. And on that note, we'll wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. And and just looking at the moment as we speak at the Bangladeshi flag. So it's interesting. So it's nice to, hopefully one day we will see the Israeli flag surrounded by all the different flags of the world. And we're going to have a world full of greatness and peace and just harmony and goodness. Hopefully Bezrat Hashem Yitbarach, and just good things. So thanks very much for watching. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel, friends, over here. And we're really aiming on growing this and hopefully take it from leaps and bounds over here. So thanks very much, and be well, friends. Wishing you well. Yeah, I'm just getting the thumbnail ready to put the Bangladeshi flag on the actual video itself, so that you can all see the Jewish community, the flag itself on the live video. So sorry, it's just causing a short delay at the moment, but I will, so I think on that note, we'll wish you well, and thanks very much for watching. Take care and be well. Please subscribe also once again.